Well, Donnie, nice to see you again.
Yes, always.
Today we're going to talk about astrology. Obviously, I'm the one that's been doing your astrology charts. You were referred to me by a friend who I think you didn't necessarily, were not that interested in at the time, from what I hear.
Right. No, I was not. I was on my own kind of journey path. And you know how it is when somebody tries to get you to do something that you're not quite all interested. So
Right. Well, yeah. And I think he insisted.
he did insist. And I think what had happened was I was with him. He was introduced to you, and you were about to do his chart. And then he said, you should, I've been talking to my buddy about this. It's so great. You should talk to her. And he ended up talking to you. I left, came back, saw him again. And he said, no, listen, you have to talk to Carla.
Yeah.
She can help you. And I was like, what do you mean help me? I'm fine. I don't have anything. There's nothing, you know.
Oh, that was not the story that your friends were telling me. But anyway, I had been referred to him from someone who knew him well. Uh, and so the this person had gifted him this chart because he knew he needed some help. He just was in a place where um, he needed his life back and to understand he still had one. He just gone through retirement and things weren't really cool, I guess. But to give people an idea what astrology offers you and what an astrologer does is I'm looking at the time, date, and place of birth. They're all coordinated like a triple matrix. That's the matrix you're in. And this is how you read that matrix in any given individual's birth. Once you've got the time, date, and place, I could give you a readout on your life for the next 100 years and be accurate. Okay, but I don't go that far, believe me. So I'm doing a personality profile for you, which means I'm taking what's in that circle. If people have seen a circular chart with all the planets are, I'm reading the geometry of it and coming back to you and saying, okay, in your everyday life, this is the way you play it out. This is the way you see the world. Okay. And so that's actually been impressed the first 3 years of your life, and it becomes your operating program. And I don't think very many people understand they have an operating program. This is something that runs, and unless you're conscious of it and decide that you're not getting all the results you want in life the way you want it will just run. This is why so many people, they leave home. Okay, well, I'm not going to do this like my parents did, or I'm not going to choose somebody like my mother did, or whatever the scenario is. And then 10 years later, they find they got the same thing and they don't know how it happened. But understanding that personality profile and what that programming was before you're really conscious of what's going on, 0 to 3 years of age. Okay. When you become aware of that, then if there's changes you want to make, you're conscious of what they might be. Okay. Because otherwise that program is going to run. And let's say it's a partner. You want to choose a partner. But you don't want one like your dad. And so your world you're looking out there, you see things. Okay, but you got this program running in there. And so here's this great guy over here. But it's not like your dad. That operating program doesn't know what to do with that person. He might be a great partner for you, but there's one over there that, like your dad, and that operating program says, I want that one because I know how to handle that one.
Whoa.
So you see, And
Yeah.
yeah, and so it's things like that. So once you become conscious of it, then you can make conscious decisions to change it. If you're not aware that this program is running and what the program is, that you're not going to change it because you're not consciously aware that it's even happening. So that's the value of understanding the dynamics of it. Quite frankly, a lot of times with women that have, maybe now they're 40, but they're used to blowing people out of the box. So they've blown all the guys that they've been in their life, they have them for a while, and then they meet one they don't want to blow out of the box. They don't want to chase them away. That's when they come to me to understand that profile so that they can make the changes, so that when they see themselves doing this now, driving somebody away because it's their natural way to do it, they can stop and say, oh, wait, let me try something different this time, because I don't want the same result I've gotten for the last 30 years or whatever. And they're capable of then making a change. That's the benefit of something like that.
Self-awareness.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, I don't do young children. I don't do teenagers. It's too early. They don't understand their own personality. And so it's too much information at that age. But I've got one that I worked with for a long time, and now she's old enough. So I finally did the personality profile with her, and she knew herself well. And because she's been out in business and so on and so forth. And so as I'm going over these things and explaining why this might be difficult or so on, she'll say, that's something I really wanted to do and I can't do it. I just can't make myself do this. I can't express this way, or I can't talk and communicate in this manner. And so that, I think we went over that even a couple months ago. Okay. And so I talked to her the other day, and because I was saying, probably you could approach something like this now, and something that's not possible. And even if you're communicating with somebody else, you can say, I really want to be able to express this, and I never have I can never do it right, but would you, bear with me while I try to say what I need to say. And she said, yeah, she says, I've already started doing that now that I'm aware of it. So just the importance of understanding, because believe me, at the same time, you hear that personality you have and you don't recognize it. And it's
Right.
that's a shocker. Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
To tell you were?
Yeah, it's a big shock. In every way, really. It's very difficult to believe somebody can know you better than you know you, and that the story's already written and your personality is pretty much drawn up and you're experiencing it.
Not only that, everybody thinks they're perfect and everybody else isn't.
Well, there's certainly that. We're all definitely what egotistical, I guess. I don't know how you say that, but yeah, I'm trying to think about something specific, but it was just an overall shock. I think it took quite a while for it to settle in. And at first, I think there's a repulsion at first. Maybe the personality was repulsed by it, but on the deeper levels, it takes time to sink in, and then once it sinks in, it says, okay, well, and I've read it again, and I would say, okay, maybe that is true. Maybe I do act that way. Maybe I do have a predisposition to be like this, or whatever the aspects were. And after
So,
maybe a month or so, it took me.
so now you've had what, 2 or 3 years of having that awareness. But when I recall we first met, I think the household was a mess. The personal relationships were a mess.
Mhm.
And it seems to me that I talked to you about 3 weeks later and the messes were gone.
Yeah, the train was off of the tracks prior to having that information, especially the transits and just the talking to you and understanding how it goes was important. Even not having my own direct information, but even having you explain how the astrology worked was very important. But then put that my personal information on it, and it lined up with the way the train was off of the tracks, and it was like it brought it all back together, and everything smoothed out very quickly once you realize that, hey, there's a plan. This is laid out. You It's not out of control. I thought the world was in chaos, the universe was in chaos, but I didn't. And then I found out, oh, it's in control. Everything is lined up, and I can relax.
That's a big key.
And I did relax, and it took a lot of time. I mean, because we're in time. I started looking, turning inward at that point. That was
Right.
probably where I turned inward for the beast.
But for anybody who gets this chart, I mean, I see this all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
Because now you start being you. You've had a conscious understanding of who you are, what your pattern is, and you can start being you so that life can settle.
And there's a plan, and you know that it's going to continue, and there's
And
growth going to happen.
that's when we get to the transits, because like I said, the chart is the static picture, but the the planets out there keep moving. So we watch to see when two of them might align and together, one of the moving ones with one of your static. And then you're going to have an event pattern at that point in time. And those are what's called transits. And they have exact timings. And once you learn that this event will occur at this particular time, you have an idea of the area of the life it's going to be involved with. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end in terms of timing. And this is what you're working with at this point in time. This is also, by the way, how you grow, because this is when new data comes to you to work with. For example, there's no other way to put it. You're literally logged on when you take your first breath. We have sensors and receivers on every cell membrane we've got. This astrology, and you are connected. You don't have to believe it either, by the way.
Right. Well, I was going to say, that's a really big part of this, is you don't have to understand all the intricacies of it. You become aware of yourself. You don't have to become aware of what the planets conjuncting on, what the energies are, how they're interacting, and what the particulars are. You just see it in the expression in your life.
Yeah.
You don't have to be an astrologer. You're the astrologer. We just have to receive, and then become aware in ourselves of it.
Yeah. So now that it's been about 4 years.
Yeah.
How is life in comparison with what it was then?
Well, my life became very peaceful, actually. And the transits show up on time every time. Some very interesting things have come out, and they get worked out on time every time. And one of the biggest things you had said early on was, when it first shows up, you kind of get your challenge, issue, something arises, something new. And then by the time you get to the middle, you work out the solution or how you're going to respond or what your plan is. You're going to implement that. And by the end of it, you should have implemented your plan and it should all kind of be settled. And I've tried to do that and it works out. It's worked out every time. There's not a things that are left unresolved, and then that can move forward with peace. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're in tune with yourself. You're now working with your own plan. This isn't anybody else's plan. This astrology chart, these planets, those transits are yours. And they are here and they're designed to make this life work. Because you got here because the soul needed an incarnation. You're it. And there was a plan for that. And if you work with your own plan, you're not working against yourself. You are in tune with yourself. And with that, you'll get peace.
Well, that's what one of my friends had said to you. Was, so you mean to tell me I was fine by the seat of my pants this whole time without knowing where any of this was going? And you're like, yes, that's exactly what you're doing. And then you get this, and then now there is a plan, and you can incorporate the plan into your thought, your awareness, and life becomes much more clear.
Of course, I used to describe it as, would you like to take a trip to New York with or without a map? Because that's basically it. You can fly, you can go through life blind. A lot of people want to.
Yeah.
I mean, they choose to want to know, but those I think are people who think there's something bad could happen coming up and they don't want to know about it. But if you understand your life and your life pattern, you'll understand there aren't bad things. Everything is there for a purpose. And then now you start to see the greater purpose.
So a lot of burden lifted off of us. It's a lot of, the weight of the world is on us probably before we know this. And then we realize, oh, wait, I put that there.
Yeah, that's the point. You put it there.
Yeah, I did that to myself. And then now you can relax.
And I had someone who had a transit where things were breaking, but this person was very seasoned, had many years of transits before. So she knew that the end of the transit, it would end, because when it's over, it's over. So she had told me, she said, because she'd ran out of transits, and said, let me know it was time to redo some more. And she said, and I was so glad. I was waiting for November because this transit where some important things, cars and stuff like that, broke down. And she said, and I knew when November came, it would all be done and then there'd be no more stuff breaking down. And she said, sure enough, here comes November, the car's back, everything's back, and I'm done with it. And I know that things won't keep breaking going forward. This was this time frame, and that was just part of that transit. Yeah, so you have degrees of security in your life. It's not a matter of, oh my God, when is this going to happen? Is it going to happen the whole rest of my life or something? No,
Well, I think the interesting part is, before we get them, we're really fighting against the current that are in the patterns, the way things are supposed to go. Like in terms of, it may say this is not a good time to buy a house or to purchase make big purchases. But then, because it won't pan out the way you want it to, but next week that transit may have been gone and you may be in one that says this is a good time to buy a house. And then so you kind of, or this is a good time for educational pursuits, or this is a good time for spiritual pursuits, or and this isn't a good time to look over here at this thing, and relationships are not going to grow during this one, but next week when this other one starts, this is a good time. Look out for potential people coming into your life that are going to be of value. And so there's all of those things there that we're not aware of, and potentially missing big opportunities to work with the transits and for our life to take on that very smooth, very peaceful life way of living instead of the constant battle beforehand.
Right.
It's just a battle before.
It is because you're dealing with the unknown. You don't
Yeah.
have awareness of the future.
If you are interested in getting in touch with Carla regarding an astrology chart, go ahead and reach out to us at our website. The link will be in this video. Thanks.